Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hello there, I'm Scotty Hornat. Welcome back to Juniversal Horror Month. And if you're wondering why was that, what was all that about? Well, I was conducting a masterpiece, which is deserved for this masterpiece of a movie that we are talking about today. And I'm talking about 1982 John Carpenter classic film, The Thing. Yes, The Thing. I even took my Scream Factory Blu-ray and put the original cover on for this purpose. Yes. It was one of those things when I was looking through, much like with America from London, I had to put this on the list. We're talking about Universal horror movies. This has to be on the list, right? I'm gonna keep saying that, and then we get to the last one that's on here, and you're gonna think that had to be on the list. Well, kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit, but anyway, yes. The Thing, a remake of The Thing from Another World, which I already reviewed. I reviewed it last year or this year. Some point last year, I think. That movie was okay. I liked it fine. It was fine. You know me and black white movies, I don't watch them a lot, but it's fine. Then there was a 2011 prequel, not remake, prequel, which I still say is decent. But everybody shits on it because of the CGI. And I'll tell you right now, if they got rid of the CGI, it would be fine. But everyone says it's one of the worst things ever made because of the horrible CGI. And with that movie, they made it with practical effects. And the studio looked at it and said, nobody's going to like that with practical effects. Make it with CGI. Yeah. But here, practical effects. It's Rob Bottin, who I said, went on to do The Howling. So, yes, the score by Ennio Morricone, may he rest in peace, not by John Carpenter. He didn't do the score for this. And I like the score. It's it's almost like a heartbeat, boom, 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 boom. And this is a movie that has always been surrounded with questions by the end of this movie of who's the thing, who's not, something John Carpenter refuses to answer. People keep asking him, he refuses to answer because they're missing the point. It's supposed to be up in the air who it is, although the video game shines some light on it. But, I don't know. And it follows a group of scientists. So. I don't believe all of these are scientists. I mean, Palmer. Come on. Knowles. Scientists? Wilford Brimley is here, and all he discovered is diabetes. Sorry. That's my one Wilford Brimley joke. That's it. Yeah. And then they come in contact with this thing. Yes. And we actually start with this thing, with this alien spaceship crashing. And then we cut to, there's this helicopter chasing after a husky. And this guy comes out, and wouldn't you know it, he's trying to yell something at the people who are harboring this dog that has run towards them. But he only speaks Norwegian. And the prequel will go more into that he was the only fucking person in that camp. Because you think, oh, it's a full Norwegian camp that they came from. But the prequel goes more into it. No. There was Americans there. Because you couldn't do a prequel in all Norwegian language. People wouldn't watch it. So it's a foreign movie. You can't put that in a theater. You can't put that out. No. So, no, they wouldn't do that. So, there was one guy, this guy, only guy that doesn't speak English. And that makes it even more kind of stupid. Like, well, wouldn't you know the one guy that survived is the only guy who doesn't speak English and can't warn the others? That's an after effect thing. That's not this one. But it's just when you think of the prequel, which is canon, Although the prequel introduces a mechanic of earrings, right? Well, they can't duplicate that. The earrings pop out. They can't duplicate. Okay, but or they put on the wrong ear or something. I don't know, but that wasn't in this, so you can't go by that for anything. But yeah, and then they still, even if they don't know what's going on, they take this dog. This guy was chasing after the dog. He was shooting the dog. Even if you don't know exactly what it is, you're thinking, you look at a dog, someone's trying to shoot, you think, oh, they got a disease. They must have some kind of disease, or rabies, or something, right? So clearly, you would put them in with the other dogs and not quarantine them. First, it goes into someone's room, and people are like, well, you can't tell who it is by the shadow. I think it's Norris. I think by the hair, you're not supposed to know who it is. I've always thought this was Norris. And that Norris was a thing pretty much the whole time. Because of the hair. He's the one that has the heart attack thing. That's my thought. Because the hair kind of makes me think of Norris. But I don't know. It could be. It's just my theory. And then they put the dog in there and he turns into this thing. He simulates all the dogs. And that's when he's found by... Is he found by Childs? Childs comes in with a flamethrower and fire roasts it. But somebody is infected, and somebody is. You know. I'm not going to remember everyone's name. I'm trying. Who is it? Bennings. Bennings is the one where we see him get attacked and assimilated, and he runs outside, and they come out, and then just flamethrower his ass, fire roasted, honey roasted. Yeah. McCready. Yes, there are characters named Mac in Windows, but I think this was before that was even a contest. But yeah, I don't know. But yes, McCready. He's the pilot and sort of the lead of this movie, even though he's just the pilot. He's not even in charge here. Gary is. But, you know, what have you, he sort of ends up being in charge because everyone, you know, what have you. And so some of the best scenes in this movie, of course, are with McCready. Kurt Russell, of course, gonna have good scenes. The blood test scene is a legendary scene. Okay? It's the scene that everyone remembers from this movie because they decide to do a blood test, right? To figure out, because I guess electricity, it makes it react, I guess. I don't remember how they come to that conclusion, but they do. And so they do that, and he's touching the thing. Like, and it's happening, and he's talking, and we get down. Nothing. 2 left. Gary. Well, they shoot. By this point, Blair, well, for Brimley, he's been hauled away because he flipped out and started to smash things. And at this point, I don't think he was a thing. I think it happens later. I think he at some point gets assimilated. There's going to be a question at the end because if we go by a certain... We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But anyway, so Blair is put away with Brimley. He's put away, and the others are doing the test. Right? We're down to Gary. We're down to... It's not Norris. This is... Because Norris already had his thing, where he had the heart attack, and Copper's trying to resuscitate him. This is the first scene, I think, too. This happens before this. Resuscitate him, it goes right through, snaps, bites his arms off, head flops off. You get that line. You gotta be fucking kidding me. And they have to flamethrow the head and flamethrow the body, and just, yeah. But here, you're doing a test. It's down to Gary. They killed Clark? Is that who it was? Is that who he says? Watch Clark. Was it Clark? He shot Clark, right? And they found out he's human. Right. Look what you did. You killed a human being. I don't know. I think that's realistic to me. Like, oh, he could be a thing and then nothing. So it's down to Gary and it's down to Windows. Not Windows, Palmer. Gary and Palmer. Windows has already run out of here, I think, at this point. Gary and Palmer. And so he's talking to Gary, and they're yelling at each other. He's like, yeah, I figured you'd have a problem with this. That's why I waited to do it last. And then Palmer just starts going, starts to turn. I have to take care of him. He takes Windows with him. Venus flytraps his head. I made myself dizzy. And then you get the line of the movie. Because they test Gary after that. He's fine. And you get the line of the movie. If you don't mind. I would like not to spend the rest of my life tied to this fucking couch. He says it. Yeah. They do eventually meet one by one. But it's when you get to the ending that things start to get a little clearer. So you have Knowles takes it off screen. He had a death, but it was cut for some reason. Blair escapes. She's killing left and right. Gary's dead. Whatever. So while Mac is outside dealing with a thing, he tells Childs to watch the door. But then when he comes back, Childs is gone, and he has to go deal with a thing then, and he blows up the Blair thing, and then he seems to be the only one. Yeah, fuck you two. Throws the thing. Seems to be it. And then you see Childs just come waltzing up. What happened to you? I thought I saw Blair. I went after him. And then you just sort of sit there. Hands and drink. He drinks it. Max starts laughing and the movie ends. Right? So this has been the big thing of contention. Throughout this whole thing. Who's a thing? Who's not? There's some people who put out wrong theories about, at the end it's clearly Childs because you can't see his breath. Pay no mind that earlier in the movie, Bennings, you saw his breath. So that's wrong. Wrong. Oh, it's Childs because Max laughing because he just handed him gasoline and he drove as a test and he drank it. No, because Max drinks it. Why would he drink gasoline? No. Earlier in the film, they find Max's clothes torn, which is what happens when a thing assimilates you. So they say, maybe Max the thing, and he just had him drink that, and now Childs is going to become the thing. Okay, but why would Mac kill another thing if he was the thing? We don't know how long it takes to assimilate, so he probably not assimilated yet, and probably didn't become conscious in him after he killed the Blair thing. I'm just spitballing. I don't know. But it is the video game that came out afterwards in like the 2000s or whatever it was that confirmed that Childs was human and McCready was still alive and was also human. Which raises a question then. If they're both human, then there's a plot hole. Because one of them had to be a thing, and one of them had to be the one that was doing things. Okay? Right? So, because there's another thing. So, if we go back to the beginning, if I'm going by this, and Norris was the one that was found, It's obviously not Childs because the guy's not bald. But if Norris was the one that was taken, right, and they was assimilating him, and he had a heart attack, that's one. Okay? Then there's Bennings. We saw him get taken. Bennings. Blair at some point gets taken. There needs to be another thing for Blair to get taken. For Blair to be possessed. Right? Unless, some people point out, oh, he touches his pencil eraser to the thing and then touches it to his mouth. Well, never once is it said that a single cell, because people, a single cell can do that. Sure. But Wilford Brimley ad-libbed that. That wasn't a part of the script. That wasn't written anywhere as a thing. It's not official. So no one knows how he became a thing and who went out to visit him. Somebody was trying to frame Mac. Who was it? Was it Blair? Blair was locked up at this point. When they find Mac's stuff, Blair's locked up at this point, I think. Was it Norris? Or is he already dead? Was it Palmer? That makes sense. But who's to say that when Palmer was sneaking around unassumed, he didn't tap Childs? Turn him. Right? I'm just saying. It just doesn't make sense that neither of them are the thing at the end. Because, I don't know. It just seems like one of them has to be a thing, one of them has to be human. But the video game says otherwise. And I think that's more just... Oh, we need an answer. Neither of them are human. Or neither of them are the thing. Cheap and easy answer. You know? And you couldn't... Because you couldn't... That's the easy thing to get away with. You couldn't get away with saying, oh, they're both the thing. Because, again, Mac wouldn't make sense why he just blew them up unless Childs was a thing and infected Mac afterwards. Then it would make sense. But we don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things that's left up in the air, and while you could be disappointed by that, I think it works. And speaking of disappointed, this was disappointment in the box office. It bombed. It did not do well. John Carpenter, in the early 80s, did not do very well with his movies. This didn't do well. Christine, which is also a good movie, did not do well. Before this was 81. That was Escape from New York. I think that one did pretty decent, but I'm just saying, they did not do very well. So, yeah. But now it's seen, and later, people calling it gross. I guess they just weren't ready for it yet. But kids are going to love it. Marty McFly there. But, I don't know. I've always liked this movie, and objectively, it is the greatest horror movie ever made. And, you know, my favorite horror movie is Child's Play, but this is the best one. And it's Carpenter's best movie. All you Halloween guys out there, no, fuck you. But come on. This is his best movie. I'm sorry, but it is. And, yeah, which means I can do nothing more than to send the thing to the moon. Came out weird. To the moon. No. Just to the moon. Just to the moon. But yeah, it is, for all intents and purposes, a classic. And a must-need on the Universal Horror series that I'm doing this year. Universal Horror Month, that's right. But, yeah, so what are your thoughts on the thing? And no comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And next time, well, we're leaving the 80s and we're going all the way to the 2000s. Lock your doors and make sure Tamara isn't home, because it's going to be a wild one. Until then, thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.